Greetings my fellow crafters and creatives, my name is Bobby Olin and I'm so pleased to be welcoming you to my little corner of the world. I am in Victoria, Australia, also known as Nam, and I would first of all like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which I live and create, the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people, and I would like to pay my respects to their elders past, present and future. In this video I am here to share with you my journey through knitting the ginger sweater. I am knitting this sweater for the Colours of Fall Knitalong 2025, which as I am filming this right now starts in 1 week on June 21st, which is the winter solstice here in Australia. That Knitalong runs from the winter solstice to the spring equinox. So plenty of time, but there are a lot of projects that I want to get done. I am here to talk about the ginger sweater, which is designed by Yamagara, also known as Bernice Lim. That pattern is from the Laine magazine number 15, which is their autumn 2022 issue, and it is such a beautiful and intricate looking sweater that also has an interesting construction that I haven't done before myself. So it is knit flat and it is knit sideways, so from cuff to cuff, and it will be quite a challenge to, number one, choose a size, and then number two, go through whatever modifications I need so that it fits my body. I am about 104, somewhere around 145 centimeters tall, so I'm pretty short. And it's always a little bit of a challenge for me to try to find clothing that fits. So of course one of the things I love about knitting is how usually you can tailor things to fit your own body, but this one will just be interesting. I am knitting this in the Bendigo Woolen Mills rustic yarn. This is an 8-ply yarn. It has been discontinued, but every now and then, I think because it is quite a popular one, they do bring it back out for a limited period, and probably I think just in limited colors as well. This particular color is called Hermitage. And as you can see, I have actually knit with this ball previously and unraveled it. And I did swatch from the unraveled yarn, so it should come out all right. It's really hard to capture the color of this one, and for that reason I did also struggle to pick which Pantone color it most closely matches. In direct sunlight, it's a really close match for Winterberry, but in a more shadowed setting, a less fully lit setting, it is closer to Windsor Wine, I think is the colorway. But this is a really loose knit-along. If you squint and you can see the color, it qualifies. So this is my Winterberry / Windsor Wine entry for the Colours of Fall Knitalong, which is hosted by the Yarniacs, I should say. Enough chatter for now. I need to go and plan out all of those modifications so that when next Saturday rolls around, I can just start knitting. Wish me luck. Alright, I'm pretty sure I figured it out, and because there wasn't actually that much that I could do to this sweater because of the construction, like I'm not putting in waist shaping or anything like that. It was actually a lot simpler than I thought it would be to figure it all out. For the most part, I'm going to be knitting a size 2, but for the sleeve length, for example, I'm going to be knitting to the length of the size 5. Bizarre, right? But then for things like the width of the body, I only want that to fit the measurements for size 1. So it is mostly size 2, and some of the places where I'm using the numbers for size 2, I'm kind of like, sometimes size 2 is spot on, sometimes I'm kind of in between size 1 and 2, sometimes I'm leaning more towards size 3, but it was simpler to just stick with the numbers of size 2 and they will work anyway. The only thing that I feel like might possibly trip me up, but hopefully not, is there is actually one more stitch pattern that I didn't actually swatch, because in the magazine here, in the gauge section, it lists like all of the different things that it wants you to do a swatch for, but then one specific type of pattern actually moved on to the next column of text, and I just completely missed it. But considering I got gauge for everything except for the cable chart, I am just going to assume that I'm going to get gauge for that other thing as well. So yes, I can't cast this on for another week, so I'll probably spend the next week, I mean not the whole week, but over the next week I'll probably just check back over my notes and over all of my calculations and just check that it's all still making sense and it seems like it's going to be right. So I guess I'll see you again in another week when I get started. Is it recording? Yes, okay. Morning everyone, it is Sunday the 22nd of June and the knit-along officially started yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to cast on, so I'm really eager to get started on the ginger sweater today. I really like timing all of my projects so I have a sense of how long things take me, and it also gives me an opportunity to take a lot of notes so that if I put the project down for a while, I can see where I am up to when I pick it back up again. Or if I wanted to re-knit a project, then I can see exactly what I did the first time round or the previous time that I knit it. So I thought I'd share with you how I set up the tracking app that I use. This is the ATracker app. I am in no way affiliated with them. I can't even remember how I found it, but I really like using it. And as you can see, I have a few different things set up here. So let's do a new one. First of all, I go into the tags, into the projects, and then I add here ginger. That's done. I can now access that app from other things. So when I'm just doing a cast on and I'm timing that, I can now choose that as a tag. But the next one I need to make the actual project. Ginger is the name, and I doubt there will be a ginger icon. Nope, too specific. I always like choosing the icons. They do have a couple of like knitting and crafting icons, which I like, but not many. But there's so many different icons here that you can choose from. So sometimes it's a bit of a fun challenge trying to pick one that is appropriate. All right, so I think I know what icon I'm going to do. It's a bit of an obscure choice, but to hell with it. I'm going to choose these weights because they're kind of indicating some like side to side. I don't know. I am knitting this in a dark red color, and then I want to say it's a current project. It's also a project,
and I want that to default to the ginger tag, so I don't need to choose that every time. Oops, something I forgot. I always put a timer on these as well, somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes, just so that I remember to take breaks. So it just beeps, it just alerts me every time I have hit that time limit, so I know to pause, get a drink, have a stretch, what have you. So now you can see I have the ginger project there on the screen, and when I select it, pretty basic, it just times it. Anyway, time to get knitting. Hey everyone, I have finished the first sleeve and the first section of underarm shaping. I think I actually forgot to mention before that this sweater also has a slight dolman construction with the sleeves. So this is it here. I did do some modifications to make the sleeve shorter to fit my shorter arms, but looking at it, I am concerned that it is going to be too short, and I am also a little concerned that it's going to be a bit narrow. So I actually blocked it, which is why it's on the keeper cords at the moment, and now I'm going to pin the seams shut and try it on just to make sure that it actually does fit. But other than that, I've really been enjoying working on it. The yarn is lovely to use and it's coming out beautifully. It looks really good. I think that's all I had to say. Let's try it on. I'm so glad that I decided to block this and try this on before continuing, because I do think that it is not quite the right fit. It's not that it's uncomfortable, it's actually feels nice how snug it is, but I do think a slightly looser fit would work better. So right now it has a little bit of negative ease, and I think it should really have zero ease or a little bit of positive ease, not much, just a little bit. But I do also think that I have shortened it too much. So I need to get out my tape measure and measure exactly how much longer I need it to be, and then rework those calculations. But because it does also feel a little bit snug, I'm going to have to look at the numbers again and see if I should rework the numbers from the size up, instead of continuing with the size that I have been working off. So we'll see how that goes. What I think I'm going to do is work out all of the calculations and knit another version without actually frogging what I have already done, just in case the next version is completely wrong. So I will start with a fresh ball of yarn and see how I go from there. Hey everyone, I am pleased to report that the second version of the sleeve fit really well, so I was able to just keep going. The next section that I had to do was the slight dolman shaping. So that was a bit of a challenge because there were a lot of increases to do in a short space. Just in a short number of rows. And there were a couple of times where I realized I'd missed doing the increases because I wasn't used to doing them so frequently, and I had to tink back and re-knit, but that's just part of how it all goes, right? So I kept going, and one of the things that I just had to be aware of is that because of the way that I shortened the sleeve, when I reached the point before starting the dolman shaping, I was at a different point of the cable chart than the pattern had specified. What that meant is that I also had to shorten a section of the body before I split the front and back so that the cable finishes where it's meant to finish. If I had tried it on and it still wasn't sitting at the right spot for where I had to separate for the front and back, so for where the neck opening starts, then I could have done another full cable repeat and just made sure that I was still at that point. But luckily, it has all worked out fine, and it's sitting where it feels like it should be sitting, so that's really excellent. Another thing that I did is that I shortened the body, because I'm short, as I keep saying, but I wanted to make it shorter. What a surprise. Anyway, the pattern's really great because it does give you guidance on how to lengthen and shorten the body if you need to do that. And I guess this sideways construction isn't as common as knitting something bottom up or top down, so I found that really helpful to have that instruction there for how to achieve that. So when I tried it on at this point, that was just another thing that I was checking, that I have gotten the length of the body where I want it to be sitting on me, bearing in mind that there will still be some ribbing going around the hem. I am happy with the calculations and the modifications that I have done, and they are all, again, sitting where I want them to sit, and it's all going really well so far. So I'm excited to keep going. Hello, it is about a week into August. I am behind. Well, I'm not as far along as I would have hoped to be at this stage. I would have hoped to be finished, to be honest. But it is time for another fitting. So I have it here. It has been blocked, it has been seamed, and then it's been scrunched up in a bag because I haven't been very well. So I didn't want to try it on off camera, so I have been waiting. And thank you for joining me. It's an interesting shape. See the slight dolman here? I think like that looks nice, like that. But it sure is bunching when I do this. Look at that. Oh, I don't know that I love that bunching. I've never had a garment that has had this small of a dolman shaping. Usually the dolmans, like the wing, starts a lot lower and goes a lot higher, so it's not as focused in there. Not sure how I feel about that. Like, if I don't think about how it looks, it's really comfortable to wear. So, and it's not as visible from the front. I feel like the bunching isn't as obvious from the front. I do feel like this is one of those situations where if I had bigger boobs, it might fill that out more. But I love it. Otherwise, despite that, I love it. I do love it. I'm never going to see myself from the back. And it's not that bad, really. I've made sweaters that have worse bunching. Sleeves first. I think they're a really good length. So I'm really happy with how I have shortened it. So let's see, where do I like my sleeves to go? Maybe to like just past the wrist? 5 centimeters, that's kind of like perfect. That's kind of perfect. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so the big thing about this is I shortened the body as well, and that was one of the things that I was most unsure of. Because, let's see, so if I want it to finish, so my hip bones are here. I could just give it 5 centimeters of length and see how that looks. It was either going to be like cropped, and I've never really done a cropped jumper before. I don't really know that they suit me, so I am glad that it is a bit longer, but I'm wondering if I had made it like long like that and then added ribbing. So I don't know. I do know, according to what I have learned from Knit to Flatter, that I don't really want a huge band at my hips here, because I don't want to emphasize my hips and make my hips appear any wider than they are. Oh, I love this though. I love this texture. I love this neckline. Yeah, I'm super happy, super excited. Can't wait to keep going. Ta-da! I'm finished! This took longer than I had hoped that it would, but I am so happy with how it has turned out. I do want to confess that I have not actually blocked it again since adding the cuffs and the hem, but whatever, when it is ready to wash, it will also get blocked. I have made it a little bit cropped, as you can see, which looks better when I'm wearing a dress than it does when I'm wearing my usual pants and a t-shirt, but it still does look cute. It's incredibly comfortable. The sleeves are fairly fitted. They're not tight. I'd say, I'm not even sure I'd say that they have negative ease. They're kind of just maybe like 0 ease or something like that. And they're really comfortable to wear. It's just comfortable. That's like the biggest thing that I have to say about it, is it's just incredibly comfortable to wear. I love how it looks too. That cannot be denied. I love this basket weavy texture on the front of it. I love cables. Cables are my favorite. I'm really happy. The one thing that I do really like about having made this a shorter length is it's not bunching at the back where I personally usually have some bunching in the back. So usually for me, when a sweater is longer and it starts sitting down here, it starts like doing this kind of bagginess. I don't know if it's not doing that because I've made it shorter, but that's one thing that I'm really, really happy about. This slight dolman sleeve makes it really comfortable and easy to like move around my arms, do a little dance. One other modification that I did decide to do sort of at the last minute was I've given the cuffs and the hem a twisted rib instead of just your normal 1x1 rib as the pattern called for. Just because I think it's beautiful. Yeah, I don't really have anything more to say about this sweater. So once again, this is the Ginger pattern by Yamagara, knit in Bendigo Woolen Mills Rustic, a discontinued yarn, but you can still get it every now and then. And I'm absolutely in love with it. I love the fit. The modifications are really easy. She makes it really easy to do modifications. She tells you how to do the how to adjust the length of it to your liking, and then obviously the width you can just easily adjust by doing more or less repeats of the basket weave pattern. That's really all that I have to say about it. I hope you enjoyed coming along on my little journey of making this sweater, and I hope that you have a go making yourself one of these too. Until next time.